Very good evening to you. You're watching Primetime News on News First. I'm Chaturanga Hapwarachi joining you from the Primetime set after some time. Before we head into the stories in detail, let's first take a look at the headlines.
Sri Lankan rupee depreciates further against US dollar to 161 rupees and 17 cents. Vegetable prices also reach record highs. Police fire tear gas yet again to disperse anti-Saitam student protesters. MP Buddhika Pathirana sworn in as Deputy Minister. CID to record statement from former IGP Jayantha Wickramaratne over Lasantha Wickramatunga murder investigation.
On to those stories in detail now. As we saw in the headlines, the Sri Lankan rupee depreciated to unprecedented levels against the US dollar to 161 rupees and 17 cents. Now, when will the depreciation of this rupee end? What are the actual reasons for the depreciation of the Sri Lankan rupee?
During the past 6 months alone, the value of the rupee has depreciated by 5.44% in comparison to the US dollar. The rupee value, which was at 110 rupees and 95 cents in comparison to the US dollar in the year 2010, shot up to 152 rupees and 85 cents by the beginning of 2017. There are several factors that affect the foreign exchange rates of a country. While the inflation rate as well as the country's current account and the balance of payments have a major impact, the interest rates of the country also play an important role in the fluctuation of the exchange rates. Experts say under the 100-day government, during the first quarter of 2015, then Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran's money printing lit the fuse under the economy. The national debt figure in January 2015 stood at 4,000 billion rupees or 4 trillion rupees. During the controversial bond scam on the 27th of February 2015, where bonds worth 10 billion rupees was issued for 30 years, the interest rates went up by 3.15%. In rupee terms, this increase in interest rates translated to an additional burden of 126 billion rupees to the country's debt. It is clear that money printing undertaken by the former governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran, caused the rupee to depreciate further. Economists point out that the interest rate increase during the 2015 bond scam has also resulted in the rupee to depreciate further. If the politicos of the country are not able to manage the economy, should they not hand over the responsibility to others competent and able to deliver the people's aspirations? In short, either deliver or get out. Why should the 22 million people of this country tolerate the foolishness and ineptitude of legislators who have a clear dysfunctionality and act in their own narrow interests? In the meantime, former governor of the Central Bank Arjuna Mahendran remains elusive. For the moment, he remains away from the long hand of the law. The Prime Minister, the man who recommended his appointment and gave assurances to the Cabinet of Ministers on his ability and skill, remains tight-lipped before the people.
Well, all these politicians remain tight-lipped while the value of the rupee is depreciating against the US dollar. The price of vegetables has also increased.
The cost of a kilogram of capsicum is 400 rupees in the retail market, while the cost of beans has increased to 320 rupees. A kilogram of leeks has gone up to 360 rupees.
The prices are higher than usual. You can only buy 2 or 3 vegetables.
The prices go up when it rains and when it doesn't. What is the meaning of this? Though the prices of vegetables have increased in the market, does the vegetable farmer receive a substantial return?
We gave brinjal at 105 rupees.
We gave carrots between 240 to 250 rupees, beans between 190 to 200, and capsicum between 380 to 390.
There was rain and we couldn't cultivate. There is a price for beans. There was rain and the crops were destroyed. We have nothing to do.
Once again, on to one of our headline-making stories. University students staged a demonstration obstructing the entrance point to the parliamentary complex over the unresolved item issue. The demonstration ended following the intervention of the police.
Students of the Inter-University Students' Federation began their demonstration opposite the University of the Visual and Performing Arts and proceeded on foot towards Parliament. The protest, which was held this afternoon, resulted in heavy traffic congestion in and around Rajagiriya. At the parliamentary entrance point, the police resorted to firing tear gas at the protesters.
The country will not be able to move forward. This is very inconvenient for us. We have no way of doing our job.
According to police data, a minimum of 4 protests are held a day in and around Colombo. As a result of these protests, which are held at various locations, the general public are forced to waste their valuable time stuck on the road.
Trade unions have their freedom, but that is not the issue. People lose close to 40 to 50 billion rupees a year while being stuck in traffic due to daily satyagraha campaigns and strike actions. It is eventually the people who have to pay taxes. The issue people have today is how many hours does it take for them to reach home from work when they get into a bus. In other countries, you cannot book the road to go on rallies. You have to allocate a government-owned area. There is no issue in staging these rallies at Golf Fort or Hyde Park. So if there is an issue, the government has to provide immediate solutions because such satyagraha campaigns, which result in heavy traffic congestions, causes a waste of around 5 to 6% of our GDP. Even when you go to buy medicine, you can't because that alone causes health issues.
In May this year, bus drivers in Japan went on strike over several demands, but it was no ordinary industrial dispute. They were still working during the strike, driving around, picking up passengers. But they did not do a key part of the job, which was accepting fares. But here in Sri Lanka, struggles and battles are more targeted at the people rather than the rulers. How fair is it to cause inconvenience among the majority of the people in the country to fulfill the agendas of a few? And against a backdrop where the rupee only seems to be depreciating and the vegetable prices soaring, is it right to put the general public under such pressure in exchange for various objectives?
In addition to the general public, parliamentarians too were inconvenienced by the university protests. They raised the matter in Parliament today.
It took me an hour and 20 minutes to get to Parliament from Temple Trees. When I got here, it was closed. What sort of democracy is this? When there is an obstruction on the road to get to Parliament, the police looks on. I kindly call for an extensive answer from the Speaker because this is not the first time this has happened. We have been given a mandate to build the country, not to hide in fear under wooden planks. Measures will be taken to address the issue to the Speaker and inform the Inspector General of Police. That isn't enough. Please report this matter to the police. For how long was the road blocked? This is a misuse of freedom. This isn't the first time this has happened. May it be because of protesters or to control the protesters, but this has to be done in a way obstructions are not caused. The right for MPs to freely travel around should be protected. I am of the stance of the MP.
Moving from Parliament to Provincial Councils, this was the manner in which public representatives elected by the people were acting at their respective Provincial Councils today.
The Western Provincial Council convened at 9:30 am under the chairmanship of Sunil Vijayratne. While a number of seats in the council were vacant, this is the manner the public representatives who decided to show up paid attention to the issues of the people. At the end of the session, there was no one remaining in the chamber to postpone the sitting. A minimum of 500,000 rupees is spent for a single sitting at the Western Provincial Council. The Central Provincial Council too was no better than the Western Provincial Council.
On to a more serious note, the Criminal Investigations Department is to record a statement from former Inspector General of Police Jayantha Wickramaratne over the investigations into the assassination of veteran journalist Lasantha Wickramatunge. The CID informed the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court today it would record the statement on the 22nd of this month.
The Lasantha Wickramatunge murder case was heard at the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court today. Former DIG Prasanna Nanayakara and former Inspector Tissa Sugatapala, who are in custody on charges of concealing evidence, were produced in court today, where they were ordered to be further remanded until the 3rd of next month. The request made by the suspect's attorney to grant their client's bail will also be considered on the 3rd. Reporting on the progress of the investigations, the Criminal Investigations Department informed court that statements have been recorded from the Director of the State Intelligence Service, Kirti Gajanayaka, and former Head of Intelligence, Major General Kapila Hendavitarana.
UNP parliamentarian Buddhika Patirana was sworn in as the Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce before President Maithripala Sirisena today.
The swearing-in was carried out at the President's official residence.
Some ask if I will wait and watch what happens in the country. I'd like to say that I will work with all my strength for this country. This position will not change anything. I don't plan on deviating from the vision of the party.
Buddhika Patirana, who won a landslide victory at the 2010 general election, continuously won the vote of the people and was elected into parliament. Buddhika Patirana was famous among the public as a politician who has practically worked for the general public throughout his political career.
Minister of National Coexistence, Reconciliation and Official Languages Mano Ganeshan says in comparison to the Tamil population in the country, the number of Tamil ministers are not sufficient.
The minister issuing a release says there are 70 state institutions controlled by Muslim ministers in the country. The release adds that the Muslim people lament that these particular state institutions do not serve them properly. The minister adds that among the Sri Lankan population of 20 million, there are 15 million Sinhalese people, 3 million Tamil people and 2 million Muslims. It adds that the current government received the support of the Tamil populace to come into power. However, the release says that the current government, like the previous governments, have not provided proper authority to Tamil parliamentarians. Minister Ganeshan says there are 3 Tamil cabinet ministers, 1 state minister and 3 deputy ministers in the current government.
The 107th birth anniversary of late Prime Minister Dudley Senanayake was held this afternoon in Colombo. The event commenced after floral tributes were presented to the statue near D.S. Senanayake College in Colombo. Several dignitaries, including the Speaker of Parliament, Karu Jayasuriya, attended the event. The Cabinet of Ministers convened this morning under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. At the conclusion of the meeting, journalists questioned Cabinet Ministers if the issues currently faced by the people in the country were discussed at the Cabinet.
Prices of certain vegetables like carrots, beans and capsicum have increased. Prices of manioc and pumpkin remain low. We urge the people to consume what is available the most. They say manioc is good for cancer. We ask the consumers, rather than looking at what is expensive, think about the farmers as well. For people like you, there is an increase in some of the vegetables you constantly consume, but overall vegetable prices have reduced.
විෂය භාර අමාත්‍ය.
නමුත් එමෙතුමා විගණකාධිපතිවරයා චෝදනා කරන්නේ ඒ මුදල් වියදම් පැහැදම් කිරීමේදී විශාල වංචා දූෂණ වෙනවයි කියලා. ඒවා සොයන්න බෑ රාජ්‍ය ආයතනවල අමාත්‍යාංශවල නිලධාරීන් වුන්ට අවශ්‍ය සියලු ලිපි ලේඛන ලබා නොදීම කියන කාරණාවයි ඔහු මතු කරන්නේ.
මෙහෙමයි. එහෙම ලිපි ලේඛන ලබා නොදෙනවා නම් ඒක ලොකු අඩුපාඩුවක් හැටියට මම දකිනවා.
එතුමා දැන් අපි දකිනවා දිගින් දිගටම කොළඹ නගරයේ ආශ්‍රිතව උද්ඝෝෂණ පිකටින් මේවා තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඊයේ අද දිනේ වෙනකොට විශ්වවිද්‍යාල විශිෂ්‍යයන් මේ වගේම තමයි තැපැල් මේ වගේ මේවා සම්බන්ධ සයිටම් එක මේවා ගැන කැබිනට් එකේ සාකච්ඡා වෙනවද එතුමා? ඉතින් අමතුමා කැබිනට් එකේ මොනවද එතකොට සාකච්ඡා කරන්නේ? ටෙන්ඩර් විතරද?
වෙලාවක එන්න බලන්න කැබිනට්.
එතුමා දැන් අද
ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඕන දේවල් නෙමෙයි කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය සාකච්ඡා කරන්නේ.
එතුමා මේ වෙනකොට ඩොලරය 160 දක්වා ඉහළ ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම එළවලු මිල ගණන් සෑහෙන්න ඉහළ ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. මේවා ගැන සාකච්ඡාවක් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද මේ ජනතාවගේ?
සාකච්ඡා කරනවා. එවැනි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආපු වෙලාවට විශේෂයෙන් අපි සාකච්ඡා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම සමහර අවස්ථාවලදී විශේෂ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩල රැස්වීම පවා පවත්වලා තියෙනවා.
එතුමා අද දිනේ හිටපු කැබිනට් ඇමතිවරු කවුරුවක්වත් දන්නවද එළවලු මිල ගණන් කීයද කියලා? බෝන්චි කිලෝ එකක් කීයද? කැරට් කිලෝ එකක් කීයද කියන එක?
එළවලු කියන්නේ
Vegetables aren't things you can just create. You can only show that the price is 500 and today it is 1000. And you should also show the procedure behind it and the damage caused by rains. We could have had a harvest of 10,000 kilograms, but we have only had 1,000 kilos. Then the prices increase according to the supply and demand. You do not see this bit.
Minister Duminda Disanayake, if the common issues faced by the general public of the country are not discussed in the Cabinet of Ministers, where else are they to be discussed? Since you are maintained at the expense of the people, you may not feel that grief. If you visit the remote villages of your district in the luxury vehicle you travel in, you just might be able to see the issues those people have. Even though the people's issues are not spoken of, the people will certainly not forget the level of urgency you had to rent a building spending billions of rupees, regardless of who may have forgotten. Wasn't a sum of 756 million rupees paid for 3 years with the people's money? After the third year, wasn't it the same round of discussions you say that does not talk about the people's issues granted approval to sign agreements to pay a monthly rent of 24.5 million? It comes as no surprise to the people that ministers like you, who spend a sum of 1,335 million rupees as rent for 5 years, does not understand the plight of the people. Minister, the people will take a decision about public representatives like yourself who fail to even provide the innocent people of Rajrata their fertilizer at the correct time.
Interesting matches indeed. Now, from the matches that happened today, I have the details of the Japan match. Japan secured their first World Cup victory on European soil as Yuo Osako's header earned a shocking 2-1 win over 10-man Colombia's, and Shinichi Kagawa opened the scoring for Japan from the penalty spot following a 3-minute delay after Carlos Sanchez was sent off for handling his shot. We'll keep you updated about the FIFA World Cup on all our primetime news starting from today. So tune on to primetime news every day at 9 if you want to know what's happening on FIFA. Before we go, I want to keep you updated about another incident that happened in Parliament. The reports of the Committee on Public Accounts, or COPA, on 837 state institutions were presented to Parliament this afternoon. The reports were presented to Parliament by Chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts, Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna. The Deputy Minister said state institutions which showed efficiency in 2015 were recognized. Leader of the House, Minister Lakshman Kiriyala, proposed for the report to be printed. Meanwhile, Speaker made clarifications about all documents on the bond report being presented to Parliament.
The Secretary to the President has informed Parliament in writing yesterday, while noting that the advice of the Attorney General has been sought about releasing all documents pertaining to the Bond Commission report. The advice will be immediately followed the moment consent is given to do so. Until I receive these documents regarding the bond issue from the Presidential Secretariat in a legal manner, I kindly request all media institutions and MPs to refrain from publishing and making statements which harm the integrity of Parliament and its members. Never in history has there been a parliament as this, where an MP has fallen to such a difficult position to lose his integrity. A group of members were recently appointed to COPE. 2 of these members are linked to the bond issue and has been proven that they accepted money from original Aloysius. When we discussed the bond issue at COPE, those who accepted money pointed fingers at the Auditor General and threatened him. COPE decided that the central bank governor should be summoned to Parliament. But when this happened, the COPE chairman was brought to the Speaker's office where Minister Lakshman Kiriyala said, "Stop this." MP Handunati then said, "This bond scam came out because I said I would do this." Three other members of COPE, I will not mention their names, but one is a Kalutara district MP, the other is a Gampha district MP, and the other is a Putlam district MP. They too have accepted money which has been proven. These names will be revealed in the coming days. Details linked to the mayor of Colombo, Rosie Senanayake, also came out during investigations at the Bond Commission. It has been revealed now that her son also accepted money. 5 members of COPE have accepted money. This has been proven. 2 more names will be revealed soon. Because of this issue, the Kalutara district MP and myself gave an affidavit saying not to destroy the respect COPE has. If these members have not accepted money from original lawsuits, immediately submit affidavits claiming they didn't. It's just Kalutara district MP Jayanta Samaravira and myself who have submitted affidavits in COPE. No one else has. Nobody is talking now. Not only have they been given money, there are 5 MPs who have accepted district representative positions from the Mendes Liquor Company. There are MPs from the Northwestern Province, Saburagama Province and Central Province. Recently, a person shamelessly accepted the Deputy Minister position, but this person is distributing Aloysius' liquor. What has happened to this parliament?
Well, that's all the news we have for you for today. I've been Chaturanga Hapuarachi. I'll see you soon.